Hey everyone, welcome back to Eye Opener Society. You have me here, Gary Dean, and I want to welcome you back to the show. I wanted to do something for the audience here because, well, I'm not going to say so much for you guys, only those that appreciate it, but this is really for me. It's always been a topic, and if you heard the show before, I am fascinated with UFOs, basically. So I'm sitting here with my co-host, the Cosmic Fairy Lizzie here, and I just mentioned it to her. I said, "Hey, do you want to go down this road?" And I sat here like this. I mean, just staring like, I can't wait till this girl starts talking about this. Lizzie, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Okay. So excited to share my theories on aliens, I guess, today.
Yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, I just wanted it to be just a conversation, something fun. And of course, you took it down so many different roads, and now I can't wait to get started. Your ideas. All right, first of all, and no disrespect. I mean, honestly, let's, be realistic here. A lot of thoughts, people's thoughts and opinions, theories, whatever it may be, constantly get ridiculed. That's not what Eye Opener Society is about, okay? Lizzie, the reason I connected with her is through her videos on TikTok, and I was sitting there staring at them and saying, wow, this girl's got some ideas. Regardless of whether I believe in them or not, she has something. And it's definitely something I'm connecting with. So before we go down the whole road of alien discussion, who knows? Nobody has the answers. So everybody's got an idea of what they are, what they may be, and we can relate it in so many different ways. And I just think Lizzie's going to have so much to dump on everybody. And like I said, respectfully, I know she thinks of herself as crazy sometimes. You're not, buddy. You're not. You're a normal person, but you have so many ideas, and I can't wait to hear much about this. So, if you heard any of my shows in the past, I've experienced a lot of it, but I'm just fascinated with it, and I'm always fascinated to hear about all the theories. So, I thought that's what we were going to do is just talk about the different things, but I think Lizzie's going to sit here and really educate me and give me something else to be excited with. So, where do you want to start, buddy?
Okay, so I guess realistically, you have to start with my theories of the threads of time. That goes into like what reality people are living. Different ones have like different quote missions that you're like trying to learn or whatever. And the thing is everybody has one or more of these threads running through them. And if you follow any of them long enough, there's an inevitable aliens coming, right? Which sounds scary, right? Like if you hear this, you either thought that was really stupid or really scary. And that is part of what's holding back a lot of things shifting on Earth to be more unity because you're trapping yourself in a loop cycle. Our histories have shown us in movies, right? Movies show you all the time how scary aliens are, and it puts this loop in your brain. But the thing is this universe, this like space is so big. You're really going to tell me that we are the only planet perfectly away from the planet but also close, or away from the sun but close to the sun, and all of the ecosystems, like we're really the only one out there, you know what I mean? Obviously, especially if you come from a perspective where there's multiple timelines and dimensions and all of that, and they all overlap and everything. And so the thing is with aliens is if you pick your reality, you're picking what kind of alien you're going to encounter, if you're going to encounter it in this lifetime, the next lifetime, your children's children's children. If, like I said, if you follow it long enough, they're there, but that doesn't mean that you're going to experience it in this lifetime in any way or how you're going to experience it, because that's based on what you believe to be true. If you don't think aliens are real, you're never going to see them. If you think they're real but they're scary, you may or may not experience that. If you think that they're real, but they're like friendly, you may or may not experience that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. See, and that wasn't too crazy at all there, buddy. I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, if we're not thinking about something, we're going to be oblivious. People like you and me, though, we're in tune. And I think that's why we see things in a much more different light than anybody else. And then there's probably people out there too, same like us, we're more in tune. So yeah, if we're not thinking about the aliens, if we don't want to see them, they're probably not gonna, appear. So you got that. But here's something before we even go further into any of that. I wanted to get your opinion on this one. Do you remember what it was probably about a year ago now? It occurred in Florida in a mall. Do you remember that whole big internet thing went viral where the whole mall was running out? They thought it was a shooting. The entire fucking police department, like every single fucking cop, responded out there, and there was things that it was an alien that came through basically what I'm thinking kind of like a wormhole. Are these things really happening? Do you really feel that these things are happening and it's not just bullshit, it's not just viral, internet stuff?
Oh, you're cutting out again. So hopefully this flows. Okay. So my perspective is I did not see that one. So I'm not entirely sure on that one in particular. And I don't think that you can necessarily, especially in today's world of like AI, you can't believe anything you see it on the internet, and you can't even in real life, truthfully, like cosmetic makeup, all kinds of things. I kind of attach to the idea to not necessarily believe anything that I see, not to define it, but to just like enjoy it. And so if I was to come across that meme, I would decide that what a fun idea that maybe that is a sign that aliens are coming, because I come from the perspective that aliens are higher dimensional beings, which means they've got a lot of shit figured out. They're not going to be terrorizing us. If they were, they already would have. You know what I mean? Like they're here just waiting for us to figure our shit out. So I personally would be excited if aliens started coming through portals at the mall. I wouldn't be running. I would be waiting to see if they're going to acknowledge my presence or not, you know?
That makes total sense because I'm the same way. It's like I'm always waiting. It's like, you please take me off this fucking planet, you know? I get that feeling sometimes that, yeah, you're right. You said something that I believe in too. If they wanted to destroy us, they would have destroyed us a long time ago. And they've been here for a long time. I had interviewed an authors for Who Are They and What Are They Doing? I forget the title. My old brain, forgive me on that. But they had a theory that most aliens didn't really come from another dimension or another planet, that they've been here the whole time. So let me throw this one at you. During the ice ages and all that, right? We had our hunter gatherers, our, surface level as we were evolving and all. You have these cataclysmic events like an ice age. Not all of them stayed above ground. Some of them went underground. You get the ice age, it wipes out basically all the hunter gatherers and all, but there's now people underground. During the time of the entire ice age, they're evolving, say thousands of years ahead of people. So once everything comes back to normal on the surface and humans begin to evolve again, they're still stuck in that timeline just before the ice age. Those underground have developed things, electronics, spaceships, and all this stuff because they're thousands of years now advanced. So the theory is they're really from here, from this planet. What do you think about that?
So my theory on that one is that that is actually probably true for some people on Earth. My understanding of this, my whole crazy theories on reality, is that you do pick your own reality, you pick your own history and future of Earth, depending on your beliefs, whether however subtle they are. And so for some people, like that whole thing where like there's a planet on the inside of our planet. For some people, if they were able to dig to the center of the earth, some people would find that, and some people would dig and find molten lava, like that reality. All of these things are true because you're not in the same reality as everybody else. And so the more you define it, the more you pick and limit it because there's only so many variations. And so the more fluid you can be, that's why I'm always saying to kind of not like undo your history, you know, you kind of earned that a little bit, but you've got to kind of take it and build it something different because the more you come from like the histories of these things, like what is inside the earth, the more you're attaching to certain timelines you may or may not want to be attaching to because you can make it real. If you're attaching so much of your energy to an idea, this is, I think, where people get stuck either in religion or conspiracy theories or even modern spirituality. You get stuck in a reality and it becomes real for you. So now you're operating from the dimensions and the timelines where that's the truth. That may or may not align with what you want to experience in life in the most subtle ways you don't think are connected.
I do like that. So what you're explaining too is the reason why people believe in flat Earth, round Earth, hollow Earth. Um, yeah, we're attached to those ideas. And that's our reality. And this is why I don't like when people, got to put down, shame all the people, just based upon their ideas. That's all it is. It's an idea, but those ideas can become realities to those people that really believe it. So I think you said it perfectly, right? We create that by what we think. If I think the entire world, everybody out there are aliens dressed up as humans, guess what? That's what's happening. It's happening in my reality, and it's happening in the reality of people that also believe in that too, as well. So yeah, definitely a great idea there. I like that a lot. Um, we we see a lot of things now, I think, more so. And the problem, like for me, being around UFOs and reading it about it so much, a lot of it is just man-made stuff now because I do believe in reverse engineering. I do believe we've captured a lot of this stuff. We reverse engineered it, and of course, we use it as weapons. Let's just be real here. Um, so much of the stuff we see could be man-made stuff. And obviously, the way technology is going, yeah, we're coming up with more stuff. But we're talking now, there's been sightings of UFOs like in biblical times. Where was that technology coming from?
Yeah, and see that's kind of the thing is you can come at it from an angle where you're trying to prove whether that was real or not. Were those really aliens in biblical times, or was it their interpretation of something? You know what I mean? You can choose to spend your energy on defining that, and that is going to limit you to those timelines. But if you can explore it and be like, how fun of an idea that aliens have been watching out for us since biblical times, you're now attaching to a different perspective, a different timeline, and you get to create a creative and inspiring perspective from that versus a trying to lock it down and define it and decide whether it's scary or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And it's great. It's great to hear from somebody else's point of view. Like I said, everybody has an idea. Everybody has their beliefs, and the most exciting thing. Oh, look at me making all this noise. The most exciting thing about it is to learn about it. And the only way we're going to learn about it is by hearing other people's ideas. I mean, if you told me, hey, aliens are 100% bullshit, then I'm going to want to know why you feel that way. I might learn something from that, you know? It doesn't have to always be what I want to hear. And that takes me, I was thinking about this. I don't recall the platform, but Hannah and I, for a while ago, there was an app on the phone, and it was for podcasters, and we were really having a great time with it. It was so fantastic, had a built-in audience, the whole night. And there were what I used to do. There were many podcasts. They'll broadcast all throughout the day because you get monetized by doing that and all. But what was fascinating, I found myself listening to people who were talking about things I would never really listen to. And the more I started doing that, the more my mind started opening up and just seeing it from a different perspective. I didn't have to sit there and believe it, but I would listen to it and I would learn from it. And this is what I get from everything from all the conspiracies, UFOs, ghosts, anything else. I want to hear everybody else's perspective on it. I could take little pieces from each and every thought and then form my own opinion on it based on that. Because here's the thing. When we're talking about UFOs, when we're talking about ghosts, the afterlife, and all that, what proof do we have other than people's theories? Because nobody has the 100%, correct answer. And that leads me now back to what you're saying. It's based on your belief, your reality, what you want, things you're thinking about. So if you said, "Hey, I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe in no afterlife, I'm a complete fucking atheist, I don't believe in anything," that's your reality. And so it's true to you. I might take and understand what you're saying and take in your beliefs, but it might not be my idea. My reality is, no, there's so much more in the afterlife. There's tons of ghosts and all. Those are my beliefs. So yeah, we can live comfortably in a world full of different theories and ideas, just simply based upon listening to other people. And that's what I find so beautiful about you is the fact that you have so many ideas. And I appreciate listening to you because now I got a different idea about it. You've literally sat here and taught me something.
Well, I have a lot of ideas because I spent a lifetime listening to other people's ideas. That's why at like a party we previously talked about, I think it was a previous episode, how I'd be sitting there listening and chatting and getting to know somebody because I just love to hear people's theories and why they are the way that they are. And that's where I kind of come at my thing about everybody has their own reality because people's energy literally operates different from person to person. It just depends on how they've set it up. And so it really is just so different. It's just so fun to see how somebody has set up themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I like that because I'm completely non-confrontational. And I think that's the worst part of humanity is we have that confrontational side where, if I didn't believe what you said and I'm going to sit here and argue with you, it makes no sense. We're not learning that way. We need to focus more on what somebody's saying and just, regardless if you believe it or not, just focus on what they're saying and just take the little pieces of it that you find either fascinating or whatever, but you're learning more about that person and why they're coming to these ideas. Like I always say, it's like when it comes to conspiracy theories, I always said the reason we come up with these grand, illusions or these theories is because if you're not being honest with me in the news, then I have to only assume. If I'm not being given the truth, then yeah, I have to assume and come up with my own ideas because you're not giving me anything. That's where the problems, or at least where conspiracies start. And listen, we never talk politics on the show, but that's why I say when it comes to politicians, when it comes to mainstream media, they feed you so much bullshit and it's bullshit. So you have to sit there and come up with your own ideas because you're not going to get anything specific. You're not going to get the truth. So yeah, that's why I'm saying what you're saying is so spot on. And it does. It's just we need to understand each other's opinions, each other's theories. And that's why I started this off saying, hey, we're not crazy. We just have different thoughts, different ideas.
Yeah, and I'd say listening to people's perspectives is so powerful to like inspire you. But when I work with people, I really push the idea that all your answers have to come in from themselves. Like when I started an energy session, I always start with like, I'm not always right. Like your truth is over my truth. Like you tell me when I'm not right. Um, oh, I just lost my train of thought.
It's all right. They'll come back. It's all right, buddy. Yeah, just jump in there when you got it. Yeah, but that's the feeling that I have when it comes to people. Yeah, when you're doing your energy work, what's coming forward from people is coming from deep down inside. There's only so much you can read. There's only so much that you're going to get right. But it's when you're doing the back and forth communication is when you start to put things together. And then you're able to do that reading.
Yes, I remember where I was going with that. You got to come from the answers from within because if everybody does create their own reality, the more you look outside for answers, the more you attach to other people's reality. And so when you look inward, then you get to find what you have created as your own reality. And so the more you're watching TV, the more you're accepting the outside world as reality versus the inside world, the more the outside world has an effect on your reality. And so you have to actually get to a place in which you can have your own reality even when the outside world doesn't match it before the outside world matches it. And that's where people get stuck in a loop of where they feel like they can't change anything because they're making the inner changes. They're doing all like the deconstructing, but it's not changing in the outside world yet because the 3D world doesn't work so quickly like your brain does.
Wonderful. I enjoy this. I enjoy this a lot. Thank you. I think this was a great conversation because you see, we went from aliens right down to the way people communicate. And I listen, that's what's so fascinating. I absolutely adore this. So, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Aliens, perceptions, realities, truths, theories, and everything else. We all have that opinion, and I appreciate everybody's opinion, and it's never argumentative when it comes to me. I'm open to freely to anybody's thoughts, ideas, perspectives, and whatnot, as long as we don't put it in that argumentative perspective. Lizzie, you always do a great job. All right. I'm happy to have you here on the show. I appreciate these things. You fascinated me. Like I said, I could sit here, I could probably sit and do a 2 hour long show with you on this, topic, but we're trying to get some things recorded and I still got to get something out for tomorrow. But I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. Really, bottom of my heart.
Yes, of course. I just want to leave a kind of an open question to anybody listening to really think and ask yourself what story, what reality are you writing for yourself and do you like it? Like really go and write it out, all the truths that you find about your day-to-day life and the future that you see for yourself. And really just let it sit with you on whether you like that or not.
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea. And that's why I always push journaling and all. Take all your ideas, put them down on paper, start drawing that reality out. That's beautiful. I see, I always said journal because it's just thoughts in your head, but the way you just laid it out is much better. What do you want? What do you want out of life? Put it down on paper and write that script. Again, Lizzie, boom. Kudos to you. You did it. I See, you always taken a little bit of an idea that I have and you expand on it, and I appreciate that so much. Thanks.
Yeah, well, maybe that'll have to be another episode because I could probably rant about journaling for about 2 hours too.
That'll be awesome. Great. At least now we got some ideas to go on. Thank you again, Lizzie. Thank you again to the audience. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody's enjoying. Don't forget, eyeopenersociety.podbean.com is our main site. We're on all other platforms. We're also on YouTube, and now we are on BitChute. Just go on bitchute.com, search Eye Opener Society, all one word. This way you could actually look at us instead of just listening to us. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you again real soon.